Hi, I'm Debbie Hammond, and I'm going to be showing the scalloped edge using the river. I'm using a 72 cylinder, 3 needles in, 1 needle out, all the way around. I'm going to start with running my waste yarn around. Now you can use the scalloped edge for a top of a sock. You can use it on, at Walmart, they sell these clear plastic water bottles with like a metal lid for $1, and you can use them for water bottle covers. You can use them for little bags, cell phone bag. Okay, so I ran my yarn, my scrap yarn around. And now I am going to start on the needles that are 3, and I'm going to run separator thread. I'm going to run exactly 1 round of separator thread. And I'm going to hold this a little taut instead of letting it get loose on me. And when I'm at approximately the 7 o'clock position, I'm going to start raising the needles that have separator thread. We're going to work the separator thread around 1 time, cut it, leave yourself a tail, put it inside the cylinder, and raise all the needles, all out of work. You're going to move your carrier out of the way, move it ahead. Now we're going to take our working yarn. So I have 3 by 1 my needles, and at where I started with my separator thread, what I'm going to do is an E-wrap all the way around. In an E-wrap, I put the yarn here, and I'm going counterclockwise around each needle. If you kind of hold it in between there, if it's too loose, it'll tighten up. Just kind of give it a snug as you go around. Or you can push the needle forward to make it a little bit easier. But you're going to wrap each needle and move the carrier around to get it out of your way as you go. Slide your E-wrap down as you go along.
So you're actually going all the way around the needle?
I am going all the way around the needle. And I'm working from one, which is a time-consuming part.
use this on a different cylinder, or does the 72 one work?
Okay, I have a sample here. I did it on the 54 and I did a 2-1. Now you have to remember you have to, it has to be, you have to divide it between. Can't do a 3-1 on a 54. Doesn't
So
work out.
I have a 64 and an 80 and a 60.
Divide it by 4. Does it come out equally?
Or one, yeah, 64, 64. Probably doesn't say 10, 8, 64.
Because it would be 3-1. A 3-1 has to
Or
be.
you would do a 2-1 if it, does it work with the
Okay.
2-1?
Well, I have a sample here for a 2-1, but I will tell you, only because on the last demonstration I had the 54 and I thought I'd cheat and do a 2-1. Well, it makes the top of the sock a little floppy.
Oh, I see.
Okay, it spreads it out a little bit too much. Now we're going back to the very beginning. And when we get to the very beginning, we're going to thread our yarn carrier.
You're gonna have to have a slide on here. Either that or you can pull it.
And
through
you know what I
pull it
forgot to do? Okay. We have to start putting thread the yarn carrier and put the needles back into play. Because it's a Laguerre, I can go backwards on mine. Just make sure you don't push those needles down too far. Now I do have my little cheat sheets, but I can't show you my little cheat sheets. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. So we're going to put all the needles down. Just make sure that your latches are open. Don't put them all the way down. Just leave them up a little bit. Just bear with me. I don't do this often. Okay, all right. Now what we're going to do is we are going to crank around. Now we have this, we have the yarn in our carrier, because I've gone, okay. We're gonna just make sure that the yarn is down. Make sure it's in the slot. Okay, push your yarn down. And we're gonna go slow because the first round is gonna be a little, now I do have a heel weight. Okay, it's not quite down enough, your needle. You can't really, okay, as you can see, I missed that first needle there. So I can raise it up. And I have the yarn in the first needle, which will help make it go through a little bit easier. Nope, it came out. You want to make sure that that last standing needle has the E wrap around. and you're going to crank around slowly because the E-wrap is kind of tight around your needles. Also make sure all your latches are open as you go along. They have a tendency to pop up. Make sure work it around. And I don't, right now you can see that I have two, where the needle is missing, I have two ladders, okay? So we want to go around one more time to get a third ladder, stop at approximately your 7 o'clock position, and put on your ribber. Let's see. At our starting point, we're going to start putting in our ribber needles. I believe that was my starting point. I may have, and I have moved my ribber dial, so I'm going to have to move it back where my rib and adjust it so my needles are in the center slot.
Are you putting the rubber needles in only where you got
The missing needle.
Are you picking up the bar when you put the needles in?
I'm going to be picking up the bar, and if you know what, my ribber, here, that's why. Okay. Okay, my ribber needle is now in the center of the empty slot. Okay, and I'm going to put these in every other one because on my ribber dial, it is not an equal slot. Okay, so I'm putting it wherever that empty needle is.
is that a 36-inch needle rubber?
Yes. 72 cylinder, 36 rubber dial. Now this is the tricky part. You've hung your last row after your waste yarn was your white separator thread. You're going to reach down in here. I use a pick. Sometimes you have to use the U-hook on the pick, but in here you need to reach into that slot and pull out those 3 ladder stitches.
All 3 of them go on
Yes.
your rubber needle?
All 3 of them go up on that.
Wow. That's what makes it.
And I'm going to tell you, it's this, other than the E-wrap, this is your most time-consuming part because you need all 3 of those. I tend to find a latch hook sometimes is easier because it's skinny and it can reach in there. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next one and see if I can find it in there. Now, yesterday this was real easy to find. Okay, there they are. And if I get, do you see the white separator thread? If you get the white separator thread, It's okay to leave it up there. I tend to play with it and try to get it down if it's not, if, because it's really too much on those needles, because you have 3 strands now on those river needles. Okay, and now you've got to work your way around. Reach in each one of those and pull out. They're there, believe it or not. Here's one. I think if I had, there's a second one, but it's kind of split. If you had a latch hook, maybe without the latch on it, might make this a little easier. That's all 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Make sure if you do this, the socks are special enough.
That's why my husband is about the only one that gets the rib tack top.
And I'm telling, I mean, you really have to go searching for that stitch in there. And if you have your rubber dial set properly, well, I'm going to leave that one as 2. Okay. There are YouTube videos out there. If you looked up scallop top, scallop socks on the CSM, there are YouTube videos. Then you're going to have to slowly crank around. And as you crank around, you're going to really want to make sure that all those latches are open.
Hello, people. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit that. I apologize.
Can I lose it? Oh, no, I don't have a rubber needle up there. Okay, I need to put in another rubber needle.
I told it to stop, and it didn't. I'm sorry. I told it to not do that.
By using a contrasting waste yarn and separator thread, you'll be able to see that it shouldn't be there. Okay, let me slowly go around. I need some more rubber needles here. Does everybody kind of get what I'm doing?
I mean, I do. I'm not speaking for the group.
The end result is what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
You know,
It's all
if
like
you,
this
if you're doing this and you don't have a camera here, if you bend down and really look in there, you can see those yarns a little bit easier. See, like right here. All right, but I did get more of the separator thread. It's okay to have it, but it really kind of makes too much on that needle. So if you can somehow take it off, you're far better off. But as you can see, you just kind of, you'll get to the point if you can walk around your machine and see in there, it's easier. Okay. I can see I got blue up on that one, but we're gonna give it a try because I'm gonna cut that part out anyways. Kind of save some time. Okay, as you crank ahead, you want to make sure that those, now you're ribbing. You want to make sure that those latches are open and your yarn is being caught. I happen to have a hole in the bottom of my cast on bag, and as you can see, I pulled up my separator thread. You can, sometimes use little clothespins to hold those together and hold them down, but I tend to just reach in. And now I'm just kind of slowly going around. I have one more here to catch. Okay. And what we're gonna do is, and now this one is not perfect, but you've got to make sure that you have all 3 strands as you go along. Now I'm just straight ribbing. those and knitting on those needles. And once you know that you've caught everything,
Pretty open from 11:30.
you can use this stitch on the top of a pair of socks. You could use it on the wrist of a fingerless mitten. You can use it on top of a water bottle cover. You can make that. And, you know, if you were doing like a little coin purse or something, you could use it. Okay, I'm just going to knit it off. And the reason that you want separator thread on here is because when you pull that off, you don't want to pull the yarn because you don't want a lot of friction that you'll destroy the edge, that you'll distort it if you don't use a separator thread.
How many rows did you do?
One row of separator thread, one complete time around.
Okay, and then how many rows of the project?
Three of the project yarn. Three. When you see three ladders, stop at the 7 o'clock
Right, okay,
position.
But then, and then you, and then you put them on the river.
The 3 ladders went on the river needles,
Right.
and then I just started knitting. It depends upon what you used for how many, you know, rows you use for your leg. Just make it like you do a regular top of a sock.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the top.
That's the top, right.
Now, because I caught that the project yarn, I mean the waist yarn and that into here, it's a little harder. As you can see, I'm kind of caught here. So I'm going to have to cut this out. You don't want to try pulling it because you'll distort your
Yeah, the
scalloped edge. Here's your scalloped edge, and it will not unravel.
And it's, when you wash it and everything, it's pretty much stays that looking,
Mhm.
scalloping edging.
So you can use that just about anything. Here is a sample that I did on the 54. It's a 2-1. Can you see how it kind of fanned out more so than this? It really didn't work. It just made it was really kind of sloppy. Here's using a different Opal brand. This is on the 72, the 3-1. This one here is a 3-1 that I started making last night. And when I came in this morning, I forgot I didn't have all the rubber needles, and I thought, oh, I put them in there and just sat down and started going around. Well, this is actually the reason that this is not unraveling is because I did, and it's a 3-1 rib, is because I did the E-wrap. So it's not going to unravel on me. You're feel free. This is the picot edge, where if you weren't going to, as everybody knows, your cast on bonnet, you just move the stitch from one needle to the next needle. Does that make sense? Are there any questions? There are YouTube videos out there. The trickiest part, you know, it is kind of hard with the camera, but if you kind of go like this and you really get in there, you can see where those stitches are. Just make sure that it's not a dark color if your machine dial and your everything is dark, because you will never find those 3 layers. It really takes a lot. I think that the best part is I have a latch hook like this. You could probably just use a needle that you have. You could use a knitting machine needle that's been long and take off this little latch, because if this gets caught in there, I will tell you, I had it caught yesterday. It's next to impossible to get that out. So that's what it is. If anybody wants to take a look, feel free.
The 2-1 looks like.
Thank
a
you.
little girl's
There's
backpack.
questions for you if you want to.
Oh, sure.
What are you using for separator?
thread.
Okay. I have spools of this. I am currently selling them for $35. If you're online, you can contact me. I will have them on the Earl Bacher site. They are $35 for a 1-pound spool. It is a lifetime supply.
Of what?
Separator thread.
Is that different than
If
crochet?
you want to contact me, I'm Debbie Brandel, but we'll have them posted. I also have wooden bobbins to fit the winders.
I was looking to see
on.
what we're
Yeah, there's a
after.
lot of people with
What we're
long
actually trying to
questions.
accomplish.
Okay?
That's
You
a
could
two- This is the
leave it
2
there.
one.
Okay.
This is the 3 one she just did. But after you do this, then you transfer right to the back to the main bed and just
No,
keep
because
knitting,
you
right?
need to put it on, you need to put the
This is different. That's
latches.
the hung hem.
Oh, that's the.
Would it be, the question is.
This is
would it
this
be
is a
easier to
3
put
one.
Oh, then they did it all the way.
Till you get to the
Put
preheat.
it on there before you put
Yeah,
the river.
This is the 3 one.
No,
Yeah,
you need to put the river on because your river stitch is
yes,
neat.
this
I
too.
guess you could hang the needle
3-1.
over somehow
It's a
and
lot
then
of
put
work.
it onto your river dial,
like
but
the
I think
peacock.
that might be a little bit more work. I haven't
'Cause
tried
look,
that
it's not
yet.
that-
It's a great